What up, everyone? Franchise here, the 202, and the topic of today of video 3 is drugs. I don't consider weed as a drug. Y'all can let me know in the comment box below if y'all think so. I don't think it is as a plant. But I think, me and like not growing up in this town, but me living in Butler, I feel like that, I see needles, I see people high walking down the street, from adults to teenagers, and I think it's not a real cool thing to do, especially the overdoses that's going on. And I just think that, if you're going to make a good example for children, drugs is not one of them. Violence is not one of them. I mean, stuff that, it's going to make kids look like you say, that's what I want to do, and in a bad way, that's not one of them that you want them to do. So I honestly think that, we all should just build up the foundation, build a hashtag, and help the addicts rehab and help them want to do better. That's honestly what I think, because a lot of these people are losing their life because where people are putting inside these drugs. That goes for weed, that goes for alcohol, that goes for heroin, acid, all that kind of stuff. It's not right that people are doing it and they're putting that stuff in their body, and that's pretty much the bad cause of it. So I just think, it's ridiculous. So I'm going to let the full hit off with Armor.
Since you mentioned a hashtag, I think what people need to start hashtagging is like hashtag we all hate heroin. But I want to say something for all these parents out there who are doing it. I get that addiction, people claim that it's a choice. And I've heard that. But in the beginning, sure, it may be a choice because you do have that choice to pick up a needle and stick it in your arm. You do have a choice to pick up a spoon, melt something, and then either take it that way or shoot it or whatever way you're doing it. Yes, that is a choice. But once addiction takes over your body, once you start feeling like you absolutely need it, that's no longer a choice. It's a necessity. It's like us with food. You see what I'm saying? We need food to survive, right? So it becomes that type of aspect to them. It becomes more like, I need it to survive. I need it. I gotta have it. It becomes that type of thing. And I'm not making excuses for them, but people need to realize you can't really judge something you don't understand. But when here where I live, I'm not going to put that out there, but here around my area, I'm like you. I see people, strung out some places. I see needles. I see parents that have little kids that are strung out. And all I can think is, what is that little kid going to do one day if he walks in on his mom or his father or even both at the same time and they're both gone? Then what? You're leaving behind a child that needed you just as much as you needed the heroin. That's the way I see it. There's not a win-win situation. The only type of thing that's going to make it any better is if they get help. But it takes believing in yourself, and it takes you realizing that you really don't need it. Drugs are tricky. They have that weird thing with them. They make you feel like you need them, when in reality it's only hurting you in the end. Look, I'm going to put it to you like this. Humans, we're only here for a limited time anyway. Drugs are going to be around forever. Even after we're long gone, drugs are still going to be here. What I'm trying to say is drugs can't die. But the person who takes them can.
It's always takes one.
Right. And now with this new batch of heroin, Narcan isn't even working. Like, it takes like 3 to 5 it could take up to like 8 times trying to bring somebody back. And even then, it still may not work because of all this new batch of heroin that is stronger than ever. Heroin was already strong by itself. And now that people are putting like fentanyl or an elephant tranquilizer in it, it's just becoming even more potent. So it's becoming way more dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it makes me wonder, like, what if this was my brother? What if this was my sister? What if this was my friend? You know, it triggers you in your head. I get some of these people, yeah, they're absolute strangers to me. But when I see videos on the internet of a dad and a son overdosing at the same time, to me, that was heartbreaking. And, you know, as a person with the biggest heart as I have, all I want to do is reach out and help somehow. I want to find a way to help.
Yeah.
But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking maybe there's really not a way to help.
Speaking of that, you know, if I was ever a mayor or ever the governor, the government, however it goes from city to city, I would honestly, and this is where people may disagree with me, I would have people like these cops, if I feel like that, you know, I see some suspicious, they need to check them. If they got any drugs on them, I don't care what it is, you need to go to jail. Because that's somebody's life that you, like, that's somebody's money you taking to take somebody's life away.
Right.
That's what I would do, honestly. You know,
it's just it's becoming outrageous. Like, heroin, sure, it's always been around, but here lately it seems like you're hearing more and more and more about it. Like, it's becoming a bigger and bigger issue. And the thing is, what can anybody do? And I feel for these cops too, because they're the ones that have to respond to things like this. They're the ones that have to see people laying there lifeless like this. What is anybody to do? Yes, there's Narcan, but like I just said, Narcan is even starting to not work. So if that stops working, then what's the other option?
yeah.
People are just going to start dropping like flies, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
They're just going to start dropping, and it's going to be sad. Like, and that's why I'm saying something has got to give. If you're a friend or a family member and you know somebody that is on it, you need to call anonymously. And I'm not telling you to be a snitch. You're helping them. You need to call anonymously and say, hey, I know somebody. Please get them the help they need. Don't feel like you're being a bad person because of that. Don't feel like you're being a snitch. It could seriously save their life.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about lives here, not about being a snitch or anything like that. We're talking about saving people's lives. Or even if you know, well, I'm not even going to go there. But seriously, if you know somebody that needs help, you need to get them help. Some way or another. If they're not going to go on their own, then if you really care about them,
Have an intervention.
you go behind their back and you try to get them help.
Do an
I know
intervention.
that if it was deep within me, if it was a family member of mine and they didn't want to go get help, I would take it in with all of my heart, even if they started hating me for it. As long as I knew that I could live to see them another day, that would be all that would matter to me.
Eventually,
I would want to get them
later.
help. Right. And they could be mad at me for a year. They could be mad at me for a week, a day, or whatever. But eventually they will come around and be like, you know what? I get why you did it now. And I'm happy you did.
And I also think this as well, you know, and I'll leave the link to Butler News. You know, as a matter of fact, y'all can look it up on Facebook. It's Butler News for PA, and it'll show everything that's going on in this town, from the overdoses and all that. And, you know, I'm not going to get into much details, but I feel like, you know, just like what Karma said, you know, just help somebody out, you know. If you feel like if you love this person to death, if you really care for this person, get people around, get the family around, get anybody you can around, have an intervention and help them stop what they're doing. Because eventually, it's going to happen. They're going to think what they want to do. It's like two paths, left or right. The left path, you can keep continue doing what you want to do and lead on to the path, lead on to a bad way, or you can go to the right path, get cleaned up, and live to see another day.
Right. And as a teacher or as counselors or anything like that, the next generation of children, I would seriously, I remember something at my school. We had this thing at my school about drunk driving. A cop came in, a EMT came in, they had us all close our eyes and pretend, they were pretty much telling us the story. We all had to close our eyes. The cop would tell us, you all close your eyes. So we closed our eyes, and he then proceeded and said, you were on your way to prom. He goes, now imagine, I had to go to your house, knock on your parents' door, and tell them that you are no longer with us because you were drunk and you were driving and you got in a car wreck and you had passed away. They even gave us all a visual. Like, they had us all close our eyes. They had us visualize it. They even had these 2 cars on the track and field area that were actually wrecked. They had a helicopter come in, play out the whole scene. And I'm going to tell you, it's because of that I have never touched alcohol. I refuse. I will not do it. Because I've seen what it could physically do.
Mm-hmm.
So if schools can come together and figure out a way to make that a visual for these kids, it will touch them in some way and make them realize, I will never do that. Ever. Like, sure, you can show them videos of people, how they act when they're strung out, or show them videos of people overdosing. But I'm telling you, when you go that far to that limit to actually play out a scene for them and make them feel like it's actually them going through it, it touches them in a better way than anything else. And that would be my advice for these teachers and these schools, if they really want it to where the next generation grows up not doing this stuff. That would be the best way to do it, is make them visualize it. Ask them, what if this was you? Make them think that it's actually them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, it'll make a difference. It's just, it sucks because I know that these cops and these EMTs have a tough job. And I give them props, And because I know that if I was a cop, I wouldn't be able to handle it. I wouldn't. I would break down. At that moment. So you do have to give them credit for the stuff they have to see every day. So, but with that being said, I feel for everybody that has to see their family members struggling, or their friends, even if it's a friend. I feel for them because, they do disappear right in front of your eyes. Like, the person you knew yesterday may be a total person tomorrow because of this disease.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so scary.
It's like, if you see somebody with it, we said before, but like I said, and also, we're also not perfect, so don't judge them for it. That's how I put it. None of us is perfect, but I'm a firm believer, if you can help that person out, then go ahead and do it. Don't sit here and say, listen, I want to help this person, then go back and talk behind their back. That's not the way to do anything. Because picture yourself in their shoes, wanting to start, but they can't. And they go through withdrawals. So
Before we go, John, franchise, I'm going to share the screen, and we are actually going to play Angels for anybody that has had a fallen family member to do with drugs, or even a friend that that has passed away from drugs, whether it be heroin or whatever it may have been. We are going to take our time, and we are going to play this for you guys.
in the sky and ask one thing. Can angels fly without wings? Oh, the answer's yes, cause they fly with me. They may be falling, but they angels to me. I look in the sky and ask one thing. Can angels fly without wings? Oh, the answer's yes, cause they fly with me. They may be falling, but they angels to me. As I look into your eyes, I see the pain you try to hide. You're becoming more distant as these days pass us by. And I try to call you just to make sure that you're alright. But you never pick up. This thing is taking over your life. It's controlling your mind and all the decisions that you make. You can't even pay your bills cause it's controlling everything. You tell me that you do it cause it numbs all of your pain. But how can I sit back and watch you lose your good restraint? I found myself thinking back to all the good days. From catching lightning bugs, not worried about a thing. How I would give anything to go back to yesterday. Back to where we were laughing to the calm before the rain. Instead I lie awake and fear of what's coming next. I'm scared to even answer my phone or look at my text. Seeing you lose all control, wondering what lies ahead. Thinking of all these things that we still haven't said. I look in the sky and ask one thing. Can angels fly without wings? Oh, the answer's yes, cause they fly with me. They may be falling, but they angels to me. I look in the sky and ask one thing. Can angels fly without wings? Oh, the answer's yes, cause they fly with me. They may be falling, but they angels to me. Watch you stay up late nights. Your mind's traveling and can't think right. The sweat from your brow, the hunger for more. The hunger for things not sold in the store. Purchases like those don't come with receipts. They come with tears like you disappear in front of me. You're not the same way that you were yesterday. I'll give anything to keep you from drifting away. But I'm no Superman, I couldn't save the day. Now we stop and pause for you like a holiday. No one else knows I feel you when the wind blows. I know my angels and demons exchange blows. The bloodshed helps the rose and concrete grow. Sometimes we just gotta let our pride go. Think about our people when we wanna let go. You only fight alone when you let that helping hand go. I look in the sky and ask one thing. Can angels fly without wings? Oh, the answer's yes, cause they fly with me. They may be falling, but they angels to me. I look in the sky and ask one thing. Can angels fly without wings? Oh, the answer's yes, cause they fly with me. They may be falling, but they angels to me. I wake up one night and my cell phone's ringing. I can't believe what I'm hearing. Your kids are screaming. They're saying someone found the mama and she isn't breathing. I'm praying, please, God, tell me that she isn't leaving. I start to cry because deep inside I know the pain. I'm wondering if the angels even know what they gain. I catch a glimpse of your picture in a picture frame. Flashbacks of good times, but it ain't the same. I see your children by your casket and I start to break. It's made me cherish every single breath that we take. We could be here today and tomorrow we could change. With a heavy heart, I know you're in a better place. I can't believe this is goodbye. It's so hard to say. I try to stay strong as tears are falling down my face. And God has called you home so we can stop all your pain. Another angel got a weasel wants to fly away. Fly away. All your pain is ended. You will be remembered every day. Fly away. All your pain is ended. You will be remembered every day. Spread your wings and fly. Spread your wings and fly away. Spread your wings and fly. Spread your wings and fly away.
Yep.
Also, RIP to everybody that's been lost from this tragedy. But if you guys, as a family or a friend, would like me to make a video and dedication, you can send pictures of a family member or friend that you would want to see memorized in a video, and I will do it for them to that song.
Also, remember to like my Facebook fan page at Franchise 202, and Let us know some topics y'all want us to do, and we'll get straight to it. I want everybody to like, comment, and subscribe. And y'all have a good night, good morning, good evening, whatever it is y'all at. Y'all stay safe. Anything else?
Stay safe and make a difference. Help these people get help.
Watch out for the hashtag. And please let's not make this grow. Because maybe we can save somebody's life.